Okay, today we need to be on page 800. That's where we're going to start. Page 800 has it's where the notes begin for chapter 10, lesson 3, in which they're explaining to you the measures of spread. This is how we interpret a set of data that we're given. The important words that we're going to learn today are quartiles, first and third quartiles, interquartile range, and then just simply range. And you can see here's an example of several data points. Some of the data points repeat themselves, some of them do not. We've already talked about what the word median means. Today we're going to focus on quartile 1, which is the median of the first half before we get to the median, and quartile 3, which is the median of just the second half of the data. And then we're also going to see how we are going to calculate the interquartile range, and we're going to learn what the word range means. Now, we're actually going to go and look at a video of someone else explaining these things. I think it might be helpful. So don't panic because we're about to leave the textbook. I would suggest that you get a piece of notebook paper out to write some notes as you watch this video within the video.
Today we're going to be talking about quartile and quartile range as part of our statistics section. I wanted to start by talking about just what the word quartile means. Quartile we haven't seen before, but much like quad, it's starting with that QUA. And so quartile is when you are breaking your population, which is all of your results, into 4 equal groups. Basically what we're going to do to find our quartiles, or our 4 equal groups, is find our median or our halfway point, and then find the median or the halfway point of each halfway point to get quarters. So let's begin. The first thing we need to do is find the median. Now imagine that we're given this data of student math results. And notice that we have this hodgepodge of results here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 results. So our first step is going to be to find the median of these 12 results. And as you know, the first part of finding the median is to get our results in order. So here I have my data points listed in order. You'll notice that I cross off my original data points as I go to make sure I'm not missing anything. Now I just need to work my way in from the edges to my center to find my middle point. I see that my middle point needs to be between the 83 and 88. So just like you saw in Miss K's video, I'm going to take the average of the 83 and the 88, the mean, to find my median. So my median is 85.5. So now I'm just going to...
Okay, she's about to explain to you what quartile 1 is and quartile 2 is in the interquartile range, but before we do that, let's just simply talk about the range. The word range is going to describe the distance between the value that's the lowest value and the value that's the highest value. So to find the range in this set of data, you would just take the number 98 and you're going to subtract the number 18. So go ahead and solve that for me, please. Okay, very good. You're going to get 80. So in this particular set of data, your range is 80. Okay, so she's calculated our median for us. I'm going to have us stop to calculate the first quartile and the third quartile. So be prepared to do some more calculation.
My midway point being here at 85.5. Now that we know our median, we need to find the median of the lower half of the data and the median of the upper half of the data so that we have 4 quarters. So if we take half of the lower half and half of the upper half, we will then have 4 quarters. Half of a half is a quarter. we're going to do this in the same way that we would find the median of the entire data.
Okay, so if we look here, we have 6 pieces of data, and so 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. That means our median of the first set is going to be between 55 and 70. So the first thing we're going to do is take the 55 and 70 and add them together. Go ahead and add those together for me, please. Okay, very good. You're going to get 125. And now we're going to divide that by 2. Go ahead and solve that for me, please. (125) divided by 2 is 62 and 5/10. So that's going to be the first quartile. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing for the second half. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then we have 1, 2, 3. And what is halfway between 92 and 92? Now we could do the same thing. We could take 92 plus 92 and then divide it by 2. But can anyone just tell me what is halfway between 92 and 92? Go ahead and answer that for me, please. Very good. It's very simply just plain old 92. So that was a whole lot easier to solve. Let's go ahead and continue with her lesson.
So now we know our Q1, or first quartile, is 62.5, right in between the 55 and the 70. Our Q2, which is the same as our median, between the 83 and the 88 is 85.5. And our Q3 here between the 92 and the 92 is 92. I'm going to go ahead and rearrange this so we can really get a clear aspect of our 4 quartiles. So now it's pretty clear to see how I've rearranged, and I have 4 groups of 3 numbers each because I had 12 data points to start with. And I have my quartile 1 number, which is 62.5, my quartile 2 number of 85.5, and my quartile 3 value of 92. If you had an odd number of data to start with so that your median was actually a data point, it wouldn't be in one of the quarters of data. It would be separate from the quarter of data. So I will do an example like that in class. Once you know your quartiles, the next step is going to be to find your interquartile range. To do that, you are quite simply going to take your Q3 number and subtract your Q1 number to get the range of your 50%, middle 50% of the data.
Okay, to review, the range of the entire set of data is the very largest point in the data minus the very lowest point with the least amount of value. And we found out earlier in the video that that is 98 minus 18 is 80. Now what you're going to do is you're going to calculate the range in between the first quartile and the third quartile, and that's going to be 92 minus 62 and 5/10. Go ahead and solve that for us, please. Don't forget you're going to have to annex a 0 and put a decimal point up here. Go ahead and work on that. Okay, so we're going to get, okay, we're going to get a weird email message here. We're going to get 92 and 0/10 minus 62 and 5/10 is going to be 29 and 5/10. All right, we're going to go ahead and continue on with her lesson.
Right. If this lower piece is the bottom 25%, then this is the second 25%, or this is the lower 50%. This is the lower 75%, and then the 100%. Likewise, you could also say upper 25%, upper 50%, upper 75%. But usually when we're looking for information, we'll talk about the middle 50% of the data. So we're going to find our interquartile range by once again taking our quartile 3 number, subtracting our quartile 1 number. Interquartile range, which we often will see abbreviated as IQR, is, in this case, 29.5.
Okay, so we have learned some very important words today: quartile, first quartile, third quartile. We've learned the word range and interquartile range. We've also reviewed the word median. Um, what's important today is that we really think about how this helps us understand data that we are given. I want you to go back and look through the notes and come up with something you think is a very important thing to remember about this lesson. And go ahead and share that with me. Be thoughtful about it. Do not say, I don't know. Don't say what I saw. Don't say what you taught. Something specific, a fact that you learned that you think that you should remember.